Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Amanda Fest podcast, where our mission is simple. It is to inspire and empower you to take aligned action towards your dream life, whatever that looks like for you. Today, we have another solo vlog episode, but as we've done with every episode, before we dive into this one, we're just going to take a quick moment to ground down. So, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if it's safe to do so, I invite you to close down your eyes. Just start connecting to your internal world. I always like to put a hand on my heart and one on my belly. And just start breathing and tuning in. I'm going to do what I like to call a body scan. So we're just going to start to pay attention from head to toe and scan through our body and notice what's going on, starting with the top of our heads, working our way down towards our ears, our jaw, neck, shoulders, chest. Notice how your arms feel, your torso, your lower back, your belly, your hips, your thighs, your calves, your shins, your feet, your toes. I just want you to breathe into your body. With every inhale, we're going to set an intention, something we want to call in for this experience. With every exhale, something we're ready to let go of. So we're going to do 3 breaths like that together. Nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And final one. Nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Shake it out, make some noise, do whatever you need. Welcome. If you can't already tell, I am losing my voice. It has been a wild 2 weeks since our last vlog. It is currently 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, February 18th. This episode will be released on Wednesday, February 19th. And in classic Amanda vlog fashion, we are waiting until the last possible moment to record these episodes. I made a promise to myself, to you guys, that every other week I would do a solo episode. And these have been so much harder to keep than my guest episodes. I am way ahead in my guest episodes. I have like 3 in the docket right now. I'm already recording 2 more. I'm good for the next few months on guests, but my solo vlogs, you guys are really getting them in real time because I'm waiting until the last minute to do it. But I just keep remembering this quote that says, "Fuck your mood, follow the plan." And in moments like this, when when your feelings are not in alignment with what you know you are desiring to do, you follow the plan, you don't follow your feelings. I don't think that always is applicable. I do believe in trusting your intuition and listening to how you feel, but I think that when it comes to consistency and showing up and stepping into the highest version of yourself, sometimes you don't want to do certain things, and the best way that you can learn how to trust yourself is by keeping the promises that you make to yourself. And so if I made a promise to myself that I'm going to do something, I sure as hell am going to fucking show up, even if it's 7:30 at night, the day before this assignment's due. It's bringing me all the way back to my school days. Man, you know, it's a really funny though. Right before I hopped on this podcast, I got a voice note from a friend of mine. I'm just going to play you a small piece of it because this is just such a testament to my life. So I get this message. I'm like getting ready for the podcast. I'm like, it's 7:30 at night. This comes out tomorrow. I'm like on a deadline. And then I get a voice note that says this.
Hey, Amanda, I have a very exotic invitation for you. And it entails being on a 60-foot sailboat in the Virgin Islands in April. Please get back with me and we can talk about it. Let me know if April is flexible for you in your calendar.
So, like, that's the type of messages that I get these days. Hey, Amanda, on a random Tuesday in February, are you available in April to hop on a 60-foot sailboat? Let me know. Call me back. Bye. And I'm just laughing at the fact that this is what life is. It's just ridiculous. It's like, it makes no sense. It truly makes no sense. I was watching a reel earlier today that was a clip from the Titanic, and it was that scene with Jack. He was in the upper class dinner party, and they were questioning him about his lifestyle. And they were like, well, where do you live? And he was like, I live here. I live on this boat right now. I live wherever I am, which is very reminiscent of what I say when people ask me, where do I live? I say, everywhere and nowhere. I live here, wherever I am is where I live, and then I live wherever I'm next. And then they were asking him, you know, how do you make money? Like, how do you get by? And he just goes into this whole monologue talking about how he doesn't need anything, how if he's healthy, that's all that matters, and he's around good people, and that type of a lifestyle allows him to experience all of the magic that the world has to offer. And I don't think young me, when I watched Titanic for the first time, ever thought that I would be Jack one day, but here we are. So in perfect Amanda fashion, so much has happened in the last 2 weeks. This is why, truly, I started doing these vlogs, because I'm like, so much fucking happens every 2 weeks. A rave to remember happened. For those who don't know, who maybe didn't listen to the last episode, I'm currently home in South Florida, staying with my parents. I came back from Mexico for my friend's wedding, which just happened this past weekend, and I decided to make a little trip out of it. And immediately upon arrival, I was supposed to host an event for an ecstatic dance in Delray, and that ended up getting postponed because the facilitator was sick. But 2 days after I arrived, like I think I flew in on a Friday, and Sunday morning at 8 a.m. is when I did the whole space experience, where I did an intentional field trip to space. I brought my mom to Space nightclub in Miami. It was a whole thing. It was amazing. It was so great. But that was, you know, my intention for February and for 2025 was to really, truly step into my leadership. I have been in all these programs and being a guest at all these experiences. And as I'm building out my brand and Amanda Fest, I was like, I'm really ready to start leading my own thing. So I brought a group to Space nightclub in Miami. It was a total success. And then I think like a day or so later, I went to go visit my grandma at her retirement home. My grandma has Alzheimer's. She's at this really amazing place in South Florida. It's just like very, very bougie retirement home. The wing that she's in is specifically for elderly people with Alzheimer's and dementia, varying levels of physical and cognitive ability. Some people are in wheelchairs, some people are in walkers, some people can walk, some people have no memory, some people can kind of remember things. It's just sort of like a very wide spectrum of ability. And so I always have a great time when I go there, because the activities director literally is like Willy Wonka. He's one of those people that just fucking loves his job. You can tell when you walk in, you're like, this dude literally loves what he does. And there's always fun things happening. He's always having the residents do crazy shit. They're always doing activities. You would think that going to a retirement home, that going to visit people with Alzheimer's and dementia would be super depressing, but this is like literally the opposite. It is so much fun. So I go and I visit my grandma, and I visit her often enough that I know most of the residents that live there. And so I saw one of the guys walking by, and we had like a little moment where we were dancing, and I just had this download from the universe where I was like, holy shit, how fucking fun would it be to host an event here? And I said something to my mom, and my mom was like, oh my God, you should do it. And so like, it was like boom, boom, boom. Within like 30 seconds, I ran over to the activities director and I was like, hey, what if I hosted a rave here? And he was like, yes, let's do it. And we're like, cool, how about Thursday? And he was like, yeah. So it was like, it happened real fast. I don't have any education or history in working with elderly people. Back in high school, I volunteered for an organization called Best Buddies. I was actually very, very involved in this organization all throughout high school that was designed to support one-on-one friendships for people who have cognitive and physical disabilities, mostly young people that are in school, because they recognize that people who have cognitive and physical disabilities don't necessarily have the opportunity to socialize with as much of the school population as everybody else does. So this organization was created. It's called Best Buddies. It's very famous. It's all over the world. So I guess I had a small amount of education in that space, but I feel like working with elderly people and working with people with Alzheimer's and dementia is very, very, very different. So I went into this like, talk about start before you're ready, fuck around and find out, just start messy and iterate. That is what this experience was. I went home, I was like, what are we gonna call this thing? I came up with the name Rave to Remember because I thought it was really funny because it was Alzheimer's and dementia patients and they weren't gonna remember it. So I created this whole pitch. They loved it. I went and did it. It went well. It did go well. It didn't go as well as I would have hoped, which makes sense for a variety of reasons, including one, I've never done anything like this before. 2, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. 3, I did it very, very fast. And 4, it was my first time. And it went well. It did go well. It was really fucking fun. My dad dressed up as a bouncer and was checking their IDs and asking them how old they were. And my mom was just wearing I dressed her in my clothes and like a furry jacket. And she was just having a fun time. And my friend created a DJ set and it was on SoundCloud. So we played my friend's set. I had a pink wig on. The residents were dancing and smiling and having a good time. And the whole concept around it is that music and movement is medicine, period. No matter how old you are, no matter what your ability level is, there is so much science to back up the importance and the value of music and movement in your overall happiness and ability to connect and enjoy and have fun. And this was like an in real time experiment. And I got to see firsthand these residents just having fun and smiling and dancing and getting to interact with them. It was so great. But I also learned a lot. So at the end of it, the activities director and I had a long conversation. He gave me some beautiful feedback and then he gave me some great constructive criticism, which was super helpful because I was like, not that this is going to be the thing that I do forever now, but I do believe that there's a really amazing niche here. It's absolutely something that I would love to grow and get better with. For the next one, I have some great feedback and ways in which to improve upon this. So I actually did get paid for this event, which was pretty cool since it was my first time doing any type of an event like this. But because I don't personally feel like I delivered to the level and the value that I would like my brand to live up to, I offered to do a second event pro bono, so I have the opportunity to take the constructive feedback, apply it, and iterate and make it even better. So all of this to say, there will be a Rave to Remember Part 2 happening, I think, like next week-ish. On the 26th, it's the 18th now, so on the 26th, there will be a Part 2. And I share all of this as just a reminder that it's okay to try something. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to have it not be perfect. Listen, everybody starts somewhere. You're not going to be amazing at something the very first time you try it. If you did, life wouldn't even be fun. But for me personally, I am somebody that holds myself to a very high standard. And so if I do something and it doesn't feel like the best that I could possibly do, I'm going to keep trying until I get it right. And I am very excited to go back to the drawing board, iterate on this, and hone this experience even more and do it again. I think no matter what, the residents are going to have an amazing time, and I'm very excited to give them the experience again. Many of them, it will feel like the first time because they have Alzheimer's and dementia and they likely won't remember the last one. So every time I do it will be the first time and it'll be amazing. And I think this is really fun. One, because I get to do it with my grandma for my grandma. I get to connect with the residents, and I truly feel like this is something that could grow and I can offer to different retirement homes and expand this concept and really get to bring and infuse joy and play and connection to this demographic that is not my target demo, but so much fun. So That was Rave to Remember. So this was the morning of February 6th. And then that evening, I had plans to drive to St. Pete because I'm crazy and I don't know how to fucking chill. Mind you, also, this is my first week home. Like, the weekend before I had just arrived from Tulum, Sunday morning, I hosted my space event. Thursday, I did my Rave to Remember. So now I just landed. I've already hosted 2 events. And now I decided I'm going to drive 4 hours to St. Pete because I have a friend that has a conscious community up there that I've been dying to experience. And he hosts these events like twice a month. And it happened to land on that date. It was actually on the Friday, but the Thursday night there was an ecstatic dance. And I was like, if I'm going to drive all the way there, I might as well go to the ecstatic dance. So this is just crazy. Amanda lands from Tulum after being there for a month on Friday, hosts an event on Sunday, hosts another event on Thursday, and then drives 4 hours to attend 2 events. So I drive all the way up. I get to the venue for the ecstatic dance. This trip specifically, like the intention of it was, I've been hearing amazing things about St. Pete, about their conscious community, and I really wanted to experience it for myself and just see what was going on there. So I get there for the ecstatic dance, and I was so fucking tired. There was a big beanbag chair in the ecstatic dance room, and I laid down on it, and ecstatic dance is like a free-form movement. You're allowed to move and express however you desire. My desire that evening was rest. And so I literally laid down on the beanbag chair next to the DJ booth and slept the entire dance. But I was in this weird in-between sleep state. So I was like dreaming. I was listening to the set and having really vivid dreams to the point that the minute the music stopped, I was up. So it was like I was kind of asleep, whatever. But all of this to say, I listened to my body and I gave my body what it needed. But it was just so funny because after the dance, there was a cacao bar at the venue. I was wearing like my white fluffy jacket because I basically stayed in the same outfit from the Rave to Remember to the ecstatic dance. So I had jewels on my face. I didn't have pink hair anymore. I had my normal hair, but I had jewels on my face and I had a fluffy jacket and I had cool glasses on and I barely spoke to anyone. But because of the way that I was dressed and I guess the way that I was carrying myself, people were just like drawn to my energy. And it was such a reminder to me that you can show up exactly as you are and you're still going to be loved no matter what. I think that was a very big lesson that I learned years ago at Ecstatic Dance, where I had always felt like I needed to put something on if I was going to be out in public because I'm such a loud, vibrant person. I always felt like there was an expectation that if I wasn't in that energy that I shouldn't go out and be social because I'm going to let people down in some capacity because people want that from me or they expect that from me. And I learned that it's okay to show up exactly as you are. Allowing people to love you wherever you're at is such a beautiful, beautiful lesson. I have a friend that's been kind of going through it lately, and I've been finding myself reminding her of that she's so amazing and incredible. She's always feeling like she needs to show up in a certain way. And I'm like, baby girl, I love you exactly as you are. I love you at your 0. I love you at your 10. You don't need to show up any certain way in order to be worthy of love. Allow others to love you where you're at. And this night was a really beautiful reminder of that for me because I was like, wow, all these people want to be my friend and want to connect with me. And I feel like I am sleepy, tired girl and didn't even like show up in myself. And I am. I'm always showing up as myself because I am myself. So that was a beautiful experience. So I stayed with my friend whose event this was. It was my friend Thomas, and his community is Sacred City. And so I went and stayed with him Thursday night. I did my ecstatic dance. He came later and saw me sleeping and was like, did you really drive all the way up here just to fall asleep? And I was like, yes, but I'm so glad that I came. And he was like, great. So he had a little futon set up for me. I slept on his futon that night, woke up the next morning, did some co-working at this amazing cacao shop. I was feeling also really sad because I was missing cacao because I was in Tulum for the last month and I had cacao every single morning. He was like, oh, we're going to work from a coffee shop. And I was like, I hate that America doesn't have cacao at all these coffee shops. And he kind of smirked and I was like, shut up. It's the coffee shop you're taking me to have cacao. And it was, of course, a hippy dippy cacao cafe. And I was like, fuck yeah. So we did that. Then that evening, I went to his event. He hosts these kirtan events, and it was amazing. But same thing, it was at the same venue that the Ecstatic Dance was, so I knew exactly where I was going to go when I got in. I went straight to my beanbag spot, and I was more awake for this one than the night before, but I was still like in my sleepy tired girl era. And at that point, I was like, I'm going to allow myself to show up exactly as I am, knowing that I had a wedding to go to the next week, knowing that I had obviously just got back from Tulum, just hosted 2 events, just drove 4 hours. I was like, let me give myself grace. It's okay to show up as I am. Like, Amanda, it's okay. And I still had a great time, and I'm so glad that I went and I got to experience it. I really got a feel for the St. Pete community. It was absolutely as amazing as people had said, and I felt like one of the most valuable pieces of this whole thing was really getting to drop in with Thomas. So Thomas is a mutual friend of mine, my friend Alex, who I will talk about later in this episode because we have some very exciting collaborations that are happening. But basically, this is like my web of people. But I met Alex in Tulum in 2022. Her and I reconnected during Art Basel in Miami in 2023, and then Miami Music Week in 2024. And her and I have been like pretty close since. Thomas and her used to be business partners, and so when I met her and she heard about what I was building and doing with Amanda Fest, she was like, you should know my friend Thomas. It's just funny following the breadcrumbs because I put his event on my menu months ago. There was something in my gut, this is back when I was in New York before I even went to Mexico, that I just knew I needed to connect with him, and I knew that I needed to go experience whatever it is that he's building out there. And then when I got there, I just followed the intuitive ping, went there, got there, and I was like, okay, I understand why. I keep finding myself in rooms with community builders. I keep finding myself in rooms with people that are fucking doing the damn thing, that are so inspiring. I feel like I keep meeting versions of myself 5 minutes in the future. I felt like Rachel Melinda was one of those, who was the girl that I had on the podcast. Our episode was called Raving to Remember. And I went out to Toronto and did her whole reunion event with her. I felt like the universe brought her into my life as a way shower. Alex coined this term for me. These people that I keep meeting that I feel like are these future versions of myself, or versions of me 5 minutes in the future, these are my expanders. These are the people that are coming into my field to show me what is possible. I felt like Rachel was one of those people, and Thomas is absolutely one of these people for me. And one of the most beautiful parts about connecting with him, among many, many, many things, is that he just really, really saw me. He saw my value. He saw what I'm doing. I feel like as I'm moving through the energy that I'm in right now, I'm like super confident, and I'm like, yeah, I'm building this thing and I'm doing this thing and I feel really good about it. And then I'm like, what the literal fuck am I doing? And it goes like this all day long, back and forth, feeling amazing, feeling lost. And I've spoken to other entrepreneurs, and I know that that is not a singular experience, but this is something that I feel like I go through very often. And he just really saw me and really validated me and gave me some incredible feedback of some of the gifts that he sees within me. And he gave me a really cool opportunity to do some freelance work with him, to get to explore and flex a muscle, working in brand partnerships and supporting him with securing a sponsorship for an event, which is something that I am excited about because I just have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas, and I'm in the process right now as I build a manifest, as I move forward into this next phase of really just like bringing it all back together and figuring out what's the path forward, where's the best use of my energy, because I can do so much doesn't mean that I should do so much. So Thomas, great, amazing, loved what he's building, super inspired, like really glad I went and did that trip. Very clear message from universe of like, yes, I was supposed to go there. I was supposed to connect deeply with him. I was supposed to see what he was building. I was supposed to understand the landscape of what's going on in St. Pete. And I think more of it will make sense in the future, but right now I feel at peace with, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I went on that trip. I'm glad I had that experience. So we did St. Pete. We drove back to South Florida. I am fucking wiped, you guys. I'm so tired. I'm like, okay, I've just done so much. Got back from Mexico. Sunday morning space. Rave to Remember for my grandparents. Drove 4 hours to St. Petersburg. Went to an Ecstatic dance event. Went to a kirtan event. And then drove 4 hours back. Exhausted, you guys. Typical Amanda fashion. That next week, I tried to take it as easy as humanly possible. I did some recordings with some guests, which are some episodes that are going to be coming out in the future. I'm very excited about those. So now we're at the wedding. So my best friend since childhood got married this weekend. This weekend was just so magical. Like truly, truly so incredible. So Sarah and I met when I was 4 and she was 5.5. Our moms were at the gym on the treadmill. They found out that they had daughters close in age, and we basically had like an arranged best friendship. When we were kids, she was 2 grades ahead of me. And so our relationship was almost like cousinly. I was obviously 2 grades younger than her, which when you're in high school and the other person's in middle school, it's a big difference when you're little. When you get older, obviously 1.5 years is not that big of a deal. She is one of my closest people on the entire planet, and she is an only child, and she's marrying into a massive family, and I absolutely adore her husband now, but then fiance. And it was such an incredible experience. Just to put some things in context, I'm 30 years old and I have clearly chosen a very non-traditional life path. Most of my friends are on the non-traditional life path because they're the people that I've met along the way on my journey. I don't really have any friends that have gone the traditional path. And not that there's anything good, bad, right, wrong with one path versus the other. They're just different. But all this to say, I know for some people, going to weddings and people getting married and having babies, this is normal. For me, this is my first wedding. It's my first friend getting married. This is the first friend getting married that I'm like in the wedding party that I'm deeply a part of. And it was magical. It was so amazing. I got to MC the Friday night and the actual wedding. It was a fucking dream weekend. It was unbelievable. But it was very interesting being around all of her friends. So she works at a very big tech company, which I will not name, but all of her friends are very successful corporate tech people. They're all either married or engaged, every single person. And I think I was one of 5 single people at the wedding. They all live in New York City and own apartments or homes. It's just a whole different world than the world that I'm living in right now. And it was very interesting to come into that space. I love to pride myself as somebody who can just mold and meld and fit in anywhere. But as I was sharing with some people and just connecting and meeting people and talking to them, it was so interesting to recognize like how unique my path can seem to people that are not on the path. Obviously, I tend to surround myself with lots of like-minded people that are doing similar things than me. But this was like taking the fish out of the water, putting the fish on land and being like, oh, show people what your gills look like. I had some really interesting conversations this week, particularly with the men. I spoke to a lot of men with children, and I was describing to them the way that I travel and what I do for work and what I'm creating right now, and just like how I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants and being nomadic and got rid of my apartment and blah, blah. And a lot of them just looked at me like, whoa. I think what this weekend did for me was it reminded me to give myself credit for what I've been doing and truly owning the path that I'm on. Like I said earlier in this episode, there can be times and parts of me that I feel like chaotic and lost and I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'm very clear. I'm following my gut. I'm following my intuition. I'm doing what feels aligned. And not a lot of people do that. And that takes a lot of bravery. And the fact that I am a single woman doing this on my own, that I'm traveling to exotic locations by myself, that I'm going to these music festivals alone. It's all about your perspective, because you can look at that and say, oh, that's too bad that you're not married, that you're not on the path to have children, that you don't have a stable job right now, that you're not contributing to your 401k, that this and that. Or you can look at it like, wow, you are living what many people consider to be the dream. You have full freedom. You have no responsibilities. You are getting to travel the world and have all of these amazing, unique experiences. And I think what this weekend did for me on whole was just validate to me that I'm on the right path. I feel so confident in what I'm doing and what I'm creating. And also, not to say that the traditional path is wrong in any capacity. This is why the whole podcast is all about taking aligned action towards your dream life, whatever that looks like for you. I could see as I was having conversations with people, certain people's wheels turning. I was talking to one couple, they both work completely remotely and they don't have children yet. I was talking to them about the way that I travel, and I encouraged them, maybe you do a home swap. Maybe you go travel somewhere for a month since you both are remote. If you even want to travel, right? Not everybody wants to travel, but I think that meeting people that are living a different life path than you can open up your mind to the possibility of what is possible. Like I said earlier, with these expanders that keep coming into my world, it's just like, oh, you're doing that thing. That thing is possible. Cool. Great to see. Amazing. And then finding a middle ground. Even having conversations with my friend who works at this corporate job. She's an incredible artist and super talented. And so we've been having back and forth conversations for years where she's like, I don't want to get rid of my corporate job. I really want my benefits and I really want the stability and I really like the paycheck. And I don't feel creatively fulfilled or satisfied, or like I'm getting those needs met. And so we've been having these conversations of like, amazing, great to recognize this. How do we find a way in which to incorporate the things that light you up into your existing world in whatever capacity feels aligned and right for you? For me, I felt like I needed to get rid of everything, start over, kill that version of myself, totally be fucking struggling and treading water in the deep end. This is my journey. I don't believe that everybody wants that. I don't believe that everybody needs that. But I do believe that everybody wants, needs, and deserves to tap into what brings them joy in whatever that is. We only have one life. Yes, you need to think about the future. Yes, you need to make sure your base needs are met. Yes, you need to provide for your family if you have a family. Yes, there are certain struggles and responsibilities that come before having fun and playing and all these things. Yes, and what is the fucking point if you're not enjoying your life? That's the part that I think we all tend to lose, is we get so lost in the gravity and the stress. Everybody has shit, you guys. Nobody is without problems. I don't care who it is. I don't care what it looks like on social media. Everybody is fucking struggling in some way, shape, or form. But it all comes down to your perspective. It all comes down to what are your priorities, and are you prioritizing enjoying your life? Are you prioritizing tapping into your joy, to your creativity, to your play, to your fun? At the end of the fucking day, that is what matters, that you are giving yourself what you need, that you are filling your cup, that you're surrounded by love, that you're enjoying this journey of life, because we only get one. And this weekend was just such a beautiful reminder of all of these things, getting to see what these different paths could look like. I got to see an expansion of what it looks like to have a fucking partner to do life with. I mean, I'm so excited to have that one day, and recognizing and giving myself credit and having gratitude for my bravery and me stepping into my truth and showing up authentically, because I think I very easily could have stepped into this weekend feeling really sorry for myself. I could have felt like I'm the only one here that is not in a stable job or a stable relationship or has a plan of my future. And I could look at that and say, oh my God, I'm so far behind. Or I could look at that and say, oh my God, wow, cool. I'm on a totally different path, and that's so exciting. And there are people that are envious of that. How amazing is that? So that was my experience at the wedding weekend. Lots of amazing downloads, lots of amazing conversations, lots of amazing inspiration and reminders and confirmation of valuing what is now, and excited for what's possible next, and just truly honoring everybody's paths wherever we're at, whenever we're at them, just to truly own and recognize if you're not loving where you're at right now. Nothing's permanent. You can always shift and change and iterate and find new ways of being that feel more aligned whenever that feeling comes up, right? This is the process. We're on autopilot. We're living our life. We're operating off of our subconscious mind. And then the awareness comes too. And then we're aware, and then we're conscious. We're aware, we're conscious, we're aware, we're conscious. Before we were on subconscious, now we're aware and we're conscious. But sometimes we can be aware and conscious and not be ready to make shifts and changes, and that's okay, because our head is going to figure it out before our hearts and bodies are ready. And so we're going to continue on with this awareness, and then eventually at a certain point, if you are growing and on this evolution path, your heart is going to catch up with your head, and your heart is going to say, okay, I now feel what I know in my head. And then that will allow you the opportunity and the freedom to make a choice. And you have to make the choice: am I going to make a shift? Am I going to make a change? Am I going to do something about this? And then you get to decide, am I going to do it? And then you either do it or you don't. Where are you at in that process? Are you living on autopilot? Are you aware of what's working and what's not working? Are you actively taking steps towards making shifts and changes that are going to support you in a more aligned, fulfilled, and happy, meaningful life? That's the question I leave you with, and that's the recap of the wedding. Moving on to the last pillar of the update. So yesterday, I went to Miami. As I mentioned earlier, my friend Alex, who I met in Tulum, she has been one of these people that has been an expander for me up until this point in my life. She is a successful speaker. She's been an entrepreneur since she graduated school. She has complete location freedom, time freedom. She does what she loves every day. Then she decided she wanted to be a DJ, so she started learning how to DJ, and now she's incorporating speaking and DJing and coaching and all of these things that I love, that bring me joy. She has been doing and has shown me the possibility of what it looks like to live a life doing these things and making a living doing what you love. And so I've looked up to her since I met her. And she's been one of these people that every single time I'm with her, there are certain people that when you're with them, they just fucking expand you. I always leave hanging out with her feeling excited and inspired and ready to take over the world. But we don't live in the same location. So it's like when we're in the same area, we get together, we go on hot girl walks, we chat, we inspire each other. But when we're not together, we'll have a phone call here and there. But it's like one of those super, super secure relationships where it's like, I know that friendship exists. I know that the base is solid, and we'll connect when we connect. And so I went over to her place yesterday, and I just had a feeling some shit was about to pop off. I was just so excited to be in her energy. We set up a co-working date. We sat down, and her and I looked at each other, and we basically were like, I am having such a hard time building my empire alone. I've been saying this, I've been feeling this. Obviously, I've been showing up consistently with the podcast. I've been doing the events, I've been doing this, but I just feel like I've been throwing fucking spaghetti against the wall, doing a million things. And I'm like, it would be so nice to have someone to do this with. And when I'm alone and when I'm in my own energy, I start to go stir crazy. But the minute I get on a phone call with anybody, I'm like fired up, excited, passionate, feeling ready, feeling excited. And of course, it makes sense if you're into human design at all. I'm a manifesting generator, which means that I quite literally need to plug into other people's energy in order to be able to produce, in order to be able to be inspired, in order to be able to actually show up. She is also a manifesting generator, so she was feeling a lot of those same feelings. We both arrived. I came in knowing that I'm really focused on live events right now. And so there's a festival coming up called We Belong Here, March 1st. And I was like, I've been wanting to do a pre-party experience similar to what I did for Space for this show. We sit down. She already had that idea. Basically, very long story short, I left my parents' house yesterday at 10 a.m. I arrived back at 10 p.m. I was in an almost 12-hour portal vortex with Alex all day yesterday. From the moment we sat down, we just started fucking channeling. And we came up with this amazing business concept that we were both so excited about that allows each of us to continue to have our own autonomy. So she has a brand called Made for Magic. My brand is called Amanda Fest. They are both very, very, very similar and aligned in terms of mission and goals and what we are desiring to do in the party space, which is to support people in having more meaningful and connected experiences at social events and supporting people at the actual events, and then giving them a framework in which they can integrate the lessons and the magic that they experience at these events and infuse it into their life so that the party doesn't have to stop once the music ends, that they could take the magic, they could take the wisdom, they could take the possibility that comes from being energized and excited in these spaces. And instead of going home and feeling sad and depressed, really taking that energy and channeling it and infusing it into a more meaningful and productive and inspired life. And so her and I just started chipping away, and we were like, cool, let's focus specifically on an event. So we started prepping this event. We're going to do a pre-party for the We Belong Here festival. We are going to have an intentional pre-party for this event. She is going to be DJing. I'm going to be welcoming everybody into the space, encouraging intentionality as people enter through the threshold. I'm going to lead a quick little activation to support people in setting an intention before they step into the festival. And then her and I are creating an online community. We've actually already created it. People are already joining it. It's a Miami party portal. And basically, we are going to do a ton of pop-up events. So for those who don't know, at the end of March in Miami, there's Miami Music Week. But basically, all throughout March, tons of incredible artists are like weaving in and out of Miami. This is a very, very big month for music and entertainment. And so Alex and I are going to take this as an opportunity to do as many events as humanly possible to really just hone in our concept and get our product like fucking solid, because again, we both have the same goal of working with festivals, working with events, and taking this show on the road and really doing this everywhere. I've been desiring, as I've been traveling, as I've been connecting with all of these different conscious communities, I'm like, I want to bring my magic to these places and to these experiences. So we're fucking doing it. It's happening. I feel so good, so aligned, so inspired. And Alex is like the fucking dream partner, like actual literal dream partner to be doing something like this with. I am through the moon excited. I know it is going to be an incredible event. Her energy, my energy, her DJing, the music that she brings is amazing. There is no possibility for failure here. This is going to be an absolute success. And I am so excited to fucking watch this episode back in a year and be like, oh my God, that's so crazy that we got that on tape, that happened, because this feels like the beginning of something massive, like truly, truly, truly massive. I feel it in my bones. I feel so good, so inspired, so excited. So that is the biggest news, is that this collaboration, Made for Magic and Amanda Fest events, are live and are happening. And I decided, I think in the last episode I told you guys I wasn't sure if I was going to stay or go or what was going to happen. I was debating going to New York to go to an event there, but I'm like, my priority right now is creation. My priority right now is let's hone the product. Let's get the product fucking solid. Let's try it out, similar to what I did with the Rave, similar to what I did with the space event. We're going to just start. We're going to do it. We're going to iterate on it. We're going to clean it up. We're going to make it amazing. We're going to fucking package it, and we are going to blow this shit up. And I am so excited. So if you are somebody that is looking to have more intentional social experiences, you want to dance, you want to party, you want to connect with people, but you want to do it in a way that feels sustainable, that leaves you feeling fired up, excited, like the way that I'm talking now, like you want to leave a party being like, holy fucking shit, I'm ready to go create. I'm ready to go be of service. I just feel about life. That is what we are desiring our events to support people with, to give you that energetic to then go back into your life and do the things that light you up, that bring you joy, that make you happy. So we're going to change the world. No big deal. It's fine. Very excited about that. And the very, very last exciting little update download from Universe that has come through for me is I'm feeling like the next natural progression in what I am doing and creating is to learn how to DJ. So I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know how, but that message has been channeling through. So I definitely feel like there will be an Amanda Fest DJ happening in the very near future. I'm already looking into different DJ schools. I'm already looking into softwares to start messing around and start teaching myself a little bit before I get into a course. But I think it's happening. It is happening. It's happening. It's all happening. And that is my update. I am so fucking tired. I'm going to be up all night editing this, and that's okay because I get to do this work, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited that this is the work that I get to stay up all night doing. I have a meeting tomorrow morning with my friend Jaro, which I mentioned in the last episode. So I'm excited to put that project together and connect with him about being featured on his online course. He's got a content creation course to support people in going viral and sharing their message in the digital dimension. And I am going to curate an intentional experience on that course to support people in once you reach those high numbers and once you have all of these followers and all of this reach. What does that mean? How do you hold that? What does that responsibility look like? And dealing with the mindset portion of that. So tonight will be a long night for me. I will be editing. I will be prepping for that meeting. And I have some very, very good episodes coming up. You guys, like the last few episodes I've recorded, I've left and been like, oh my God, I want to release them right now. They are that good. I am like so grateful and proud of myself that I sneakily decided to start a podcast because it gives me the opportunity to network and connect with people that I really want to talk to and people that maybe I wouldn't have had the opportunity to have 1 hour of their undivided attention. I get their attention, I get to record it, and I get to share it with you guys. And these are like really interesting, cool, smart, awesome people that are doing freaking cool things in the world. And again, similar to what these events are that we're creating, it's like these are the people that you meet, that you connect with, that you talk to, that you leave conversations with, and you're like, oh my God, I want to go do cool shit. So hopefully these solo podcasts also give you guys a little bit of that. I am being like super vulnerable, super transparent, super like showing you all my crazy, all my ups, all my downs. Like we're being real here. And this is the journey. This is really what's going on. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna tell you guys when shit's hard. I'm gonna tell you when things are exciting. I'm gonna tell you when I'm fucking exhausted and have no voice. Tomorrow I will have no voice, I guarantee you. But I'm so grateful. I hope this episode was interesting. I really hope I can find the storyline somewhere in the edit. It's very funny. I feel like every single time I record, I'm like, what the literal fuck did I just say? And then I go back in the edit and I'm like, wait, that was so great and profound. Go me. Because I'm just channeling. We are channeling the messages for the people and whoever needs to receive the medicine that I'm sharing. I hope and pray that you receive it and it lands beautifully within your ear holes. Thank you for your time. Thank you and good night. Goodbye. I will talk to you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.